What's up everybody? Welcome to Cara's Cucina. I'm Cara de Falco. Today I'm going to show you a super simple holiday appetizer. We're going to be making a pear and gorgonzola tart. Again, super easy recipe for you guys to serve as an appetizer for your holiday gathering. So you are gonna want a tart pan. So tart pan has that fluted edge, the base comes up and out of it, and then I am going to just use a little piece of parchment paper to place in the bottom to make sure our crust doesn't stick. So similar to making pies or other desserts, you're absolutely welcome to use pre-made puff pastry. Go for it. I have no qualms about it. It's probably one of the easiest things to do. So again, we kind of have that semi-homemade thing going on, but I just don't want everybody to drive themselves super crazy. Roxy, on the other hand, is gonna drive me crazy today. She's all about it. But she's very excited for pears and gorgonzola. So we do have two pears. I'm using Bartlett pears. The riper, the better in this case. So you actually kind of want them more towards this color. As they start to turn a little bit yellow, they'll be nice and soft. They'll go really beautifully with this. And then gorgonzola is, for anybody who's not familiar with it, it's an Italian blue cheese. So you see, you got that typical blue veining that we get, but this is gorgonzola dolce. Dolce means sweet. So it's very soft, very creamy. We're just gonna crumble this with our hands into the top of our tart once we get everything together. So the first thing I'm gonna do is actually slice up our pears into nice thin slices. For this tart, I wanna maintain kind of this shape of the pear. So I'm just gonna half it and then use a spoon to get the seeds out of the center. So again, this is the other reason why having that nice ripe pear helps, because that comes right out. We are gonna take this little bottom off here. Okay. And if you find that it has a little woody stem in there as well, you can just kind of put a little V in there and that'll pop right out for you. Now from here, we're just gonna slice down nice and thin. And as best we can, we actually wanna try to keep these in order. So this knife has a lot of surface area to it. I'm actually gonna grab my paring knife, which is gonna do this a little bit easier for me. There we go. Barring the deli meat, it really is basically a charcuterie board in and of itself. So you've got the fruit, you've got some funky cheeses, you're kind of good to go here. But I just love, again, an easy appetizer. I'm a big fan of fruit and funky cheeses. I think that's always a good combination. And I love pears this time of year. I particularly love Bartlett pears. They're some of my favorite. I think they're nice and super sweet. They're really soft and easy to work with in the kitchen. So they bake up well, they poach well. I do have a recipe for poached pears up as well. And then gorgonzola. Gorgonzola is something I really kind of only recently got into. I generally am not a fan of blue cheeses. But a friend of mine for my birthday made me a polenta dish that had blue cheese in it. And he used this gorgonzola dolce, and it was just so delicious and creamy and perfect. So that was kind of where I got the idea to grab some of that in order to do this. You could also do this dish if you wanted to with goat cheese or with brie, kind of any of those like slightly funky cheeses that bake pretty well. These will go beautifully. Okay, nice clean work surface, a little bit of all-purpose flour. And we'll get our puff sheet right on there. With the puff pastry, especially if you have the store-bought one, if it starts to crack again, just the heat from your hands will kind of help the butter in there bring everything back together. You can also put like a little bit of warm water on your fingers if you want. Okay, we're gonna put a little more flour on top. And we'll roll this out. We just need this to be large enough that it's gonna fit in our pan and go up the edges. And then I'll show you guys a cool trick what to do with the leftover pastry. So we'll just check this, we should be good here. Start at the corner. get this onto our rolling pin and into our tart pan. So again, we want to make sure that we're in and up the sides. So just gently use your fingers to kind of lift the edges and press it into the base of the pan. Once you have that in there all the way around, the thing I like best about tart pans is they're kind of sharp around the edges. You can just press straight down and it'll cut it right there for you. And then we're just gonna peel away our excess. It's a little sticky, give it another press. Okay, there we go. Now we're ready to add in our sliced pears. Okay, so remember I said I wanted to kind of keep this general shape with the pears. It's not gonna work out exactly, but we can kind of just pick these up and slide them in here. And we're gonna just kind of lean them over. This one's split up. We're gonna go right around the edges. And actually, if you want to, you can always kind of pull the ends off because they go best in the center. Once you have all of your pear pieces arranged, we are just going to literally break off pieces of the cheese and drop it in there. And it is deliciously funky. Try not to, if you see, we have a little rind on the cheese, so just try not to get that part. And if you have any little sort of gaps in your pears or anything like that, you can just kind of fill them with little pieces of cheese. Pear tart's gonna go in a 325 oven for 40 minutes until the cheese is melted, the pears are gonna brown and caramelize, and your puff pastry is cooked through. That is pear and gorgonzola tart. It is a delicious, super easy appetizer for all of your holiday gatherings, whether with friends, family, hopefully all of the above. That is it for this week in the Cucina. Guys, don't forget, you get the written recipe at caradefalco.com. If you're new here, please hit that red subscribe button. I really appreciate it, along with the bell icon so you always know when the next delicious dish is ready on deck. Follow me Facebook and Instagram at Cara DeFalco. I will see you guys next time. Buon appetito.